Hi everyone, welcome to part 2 of our 6-part series on aided AAC. If you haven't already watched the first video, please go and watch that now before you watch this one. So in the first video, Katrina spoke about AAC in general, and now I'm going to talk a bit more about where to start with teaching language learners to use AAC. So to do this, we use a strategy called Aided Language Input, or ALI. And I know that can sound kind of complicated, but in reality, it's actually really straightforward and simple, and I'm going to show you how to do it.
So what is aided language input?
We speak as we normally do and point to picture symbols representing the key words of our sentence. In the case of a voice output device or an iPad app, when we press the picture symbol, it activates the voice. ALI is similar to using law of signs to help someone with communication difficulties understand speech. We need to use law of signs with the language learner so they can see what the signs mean and then hopefully begin to use them to communicate. Communication partners can use ALI with law and pictures at the same time. So for example, it's really hot today. ALI is evidence-based, so you can see in this quote here from O'Neill et al. 2018 that ALI is highly effective in supporting both comprehension and expression across participants of various ages, disabilities, and language skills. We use ALI to teach language and also to help our language learners express themselves using AAC.
So now we're going to watch a video showing aided language input in action.
First, let's get the pirate. Who is going to go first? Okay, you go first. Good job. So we have to put the swords in. Excellent, well done. I'm going to take a turn. It's your turn. I'm going to do the same color as you. I'm going to do a blue as well. You want the same color? Perfect. Okay, now I'm going to do a different color. I think he's going to pop soon. I'm excited. You're excited too. I really like when he pops. Yeah. Okay. Oh my goodness, he popped. That was so funny. Yeah, it was funny. Okay, we're finished.
So in that video, I was using aided language input. I modeled a few important words such as get, put, and same. Aided language input is a really useful strategy because it helps the communication partner to modify their language. So it slows us down and makes us pause, which makes it easier for a language learner to understand what we're saying. We're also showing what we're talking about by pointing to the picture symbol, and we're emphasizing the keywords in our sentence by pointing to them. Communication partners can also use ALI to interpret what a language learner might be trying to communicate. By using ALI, we're providing a model of another way to get the message across by using picture symbols along with their existing communication skills. So, for example, I bet you all are really excited to be learning about ALI. Because when we use ALI, we are modifying our communication style. It helps a language learner to learn new words and concepts. And it can also help to show them how to use those new words and concepts to communicate. If you think back to the video we watched, there was a mismatch in the verbal skills of the language learner I was with. But because I used speech and pictures, the language learner was able to understand what I was saying and take part. When communication partners use only speech, the language learner does not have a consistent model of an alternative way to communicate. By using ALI, communication partners send the message that using picture symbols is an acceptable means of communication. They teach the language learner the meaning of new words, but also how to access words. Even AAC users who have good language skills and seem to understand most words and concepts still need a demonstration of where these words and concepts are so that they can access them to communicate. Some of these users don't get to spend much time with others who use AAC at all, so it's even more important for communication partners to model either on the language learner system or on a separate similar system to the language learner. And in time, a communication partner can ask the language learner if they're comfortable with them modeling on their system. We touched on this in one of the slides before, where I spoke about how aided language input helps us modify our communication skills by slowing down and emphasizing keywords. ALI also helps the communication partner tune in and attribute meaning to nonverbal communication. So, for example, if a language learner is making a facial expression and it indicates that they don't like something, you can get the AAC system and you can model, oh, you don't like that. This means that the language learner is getting a model of how to communicate symbolically that they don't like something in the future. Obviously, after we give them multiple examples of using don't like. It's just as important to model messages that you don't want to hear. So, for example, oh, you're tired or you're bored, or I think you want to be finished with this. Just because you interpret and model those sentences, it doesn't mean you need to act on it right away. So, for example, you can still say, oh, you don't like the noise. We'll leave when Dad comes back. So first, Dad comes back, and then we'll leave. Sometimes it can be difficult to know what a language learner is feeling if they're communicating non-symbolically. So using words like maybe or I wonder can be really, really helpful for this. So for example, you could say, oh, you're banging on the table and screaming. I wonder if you're angry. With words like maybe and I wonder, you're not assuming that you know what the language learner is thinking and you're not demanding a response. Instead, you're just attributing meaning to the communicative behavior that you're seeing and giving a model of words that they might use. Remember, with AAC systems and ALI, it's about input and not output, although if we do get some output, that's a great benefit. We need to be patient and commit to modeling for a long time. We know from research that typical language learners will hear a word like daddy about 5,000 times before they'll start to use it. So we need to make sure that we're providing as many models of a word as possible so that our language learner has the greatest chance at understanding the word and hopefully maybe using the word. Some people can feel that if a language learner doesn't access their AAC system in an interaction, then it's not working. And when this happens, we can adopt a testing approach where we're putting demands on the language learner to point to a symbol. So like, what do you want? Or show me Mary, or find the dog. When we teach language in a way that makes communication feel like work or a demand or a test, some language learners may shut down or some might try and exercise a little bit of control by not responding. We want to make sure that we're reflecting and pausing and asking ourselves often, am I modeling language and focusing on interaction, or am I testing language? We want to try and make sure that we're modeling, teaching language, and focusing on interaction and making it fun for the language learner. So just to sum up, I love this visual from Rachel Langley, who's an AAC specialist, because it really helped me to understand aided language input. So if you wanted to learn French, you would go to a French class. The teacher would probably speak French to you. The teacher probably wouldn't speak in long sentences. They would just use short, simple sentences. They would make sure to use a slow rate of speech with lots of pauses. They'd emphasize the really important words. And it's the same for aided language input with our AAC users. So if we want them to use AAC, we need to speak their language by using aided language input on their AAC system. Thank you so much for watching. Please watch the next video on functions of communication.